Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome. Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day and Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Happy Independence Day.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Happy Independence Day.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. We can't see your lotus face.
Hare Mataji. 5 minutes.
So, 15th August, right? Independence Day. We were looking at this video today. Actually, I think I shared it in the group about how Prabhupada is being glorified in that video on this Independence Day. That real salute to him, hats off to him. That not only yes, the India was freed from the control of British Empire, but he actually had all the Westerners and foreigners following him, the Indian culture, and he spread the Vedic civilization far away and wide everywhere in the world, not only Western countries, but even countries like China, Japan, Russia. I mean, you cannot even believe that a communist country like China, people could be reading Bhagavad Gita. And these are authentic Chinese people or Japanese people. So not only was, and that is the real freedom he gave to people. Freedom or independence is not just physical. It's not that, okay, I'm free to do whatever I want. That's not freedom. If you're free to smoke or free to drink alcohol, that's not really freedom, because those things actually end up enslaving you. And you come into their control. So you think I'm free because I'm free to smoke. Look, I can do whatever I want, But actually that's not freedom, because you come under their control, and so you become their slave. So you become slave of your bad habits, or you become slave of the new, demons of Kali Yuga, whether it's internet, whether it's social media, whether it is alcohol or drugs or things like that. They make you their slave. So you're not really free. So that is not really independence. But he spread the higher principles, simple living, high thinking, the old ancient values of Vedic civilization, where we value freedom, but freedom of mind. Freedom, not just thinking whatever nonsense, not just doing whatever nonsense we want, because those things actually are not freedom. Those things enslave you. But actually, the real freedom is to understand that everybody is, part and parcel of God. Everybody is just like me. I'm not superior to anybody else. That is that frees you from your ego. That frees you from the control of your mind and this control of this body, actually. So he gave the real freedom. Please watch that video. It's very, very interesting. Okay, I think everybody's here. Hare Krishna. Then we pranam to all devotees. So we'll quickly do our prayers. You see my screen?
Yes, Mata. Yes.
Om Ajnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathatam Satam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasimudhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
हरे
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Vishta Shunyavadi Vaishakya Deshikarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Langaite Girim Yatyapatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Guruve Gaur Chandraya Radhikaya Kadalaya Krishnaya Sadhvaya
नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा।
Okay, so let's try to finish off our 10th chapter today. I hope we can do that. Then we can do Kahoot next time. So those who haven't done our classes before, we do quiz on Kahoot from the chapter that we studied. So, okay. So last time we stopped where Krishna was saying that, does anyone remember? 10.34 stopped at a very nice shloka. Krishna lists 7 qualities, right? 7 feminine qualities that he represents, right? So he says that among the feminine qualities, I am the, let me pull up here. He says, I am the fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience, right? He also says that I am the all-devouring death. And we talked about death. We talked about time a lot. We talked about these feminine qualities. So let's move on. And this chapter has 42 shlokas. So we'll try to finish up. 10.31. Vrihat sam tatha samnam.
Samnam
Gayatri chandasamaham.
Gayatri chandasamaham
Masanam margashirshoham.
Masanam
Margashishoham
Ritunam kusumakara.
Ritunam Kusumakara.
Okay, anyone wants to read this translation? Yes, Vedi.
Hare Krishna. Of the hymns in the Sam Veda, I am the Brihat Sam, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashirs, November and December, and of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring.
Very bold.
Hare Krishna.
So before, if you remember, Krishna said of all the Vedas, I'm Samved, right? Several verses back, he said of all the Vedas, I'm Samved. So Samved is basically very poetic. It is full of a lot of prayers and stutis, prayerful verses where different people are offering prayers or stutis. So that is very musical. And Krishna said, I'm Samved among all the Vedas. And now he's saying, in the Samved, I am Brit Sama. And Prabhupada is describing that Brit Sama is basically a very, it is also a prayer. It is a very exquisite melody. It has a very beautiful meter in which it is sung. And Krishna says that I am that Brit Sama in the Samved. So we talked about this when we said that he's Samved. He says that I am the, so all those prayers, like right now, we're trying to learn the prayers of Queen Kunti, then there are Bhishma Stuti, then there are prayers of Gajendra, Lord Gajendra, then prayers of Dhruv Maharaj, right? All these prayers and stutis are very, very potent, very powerful. Because first of all, they are offered by the first-class devotees of the Lord. These devotees are completely free from any contamination by material energy, right? They're not under the control of Maya at all. They just come and participate in the pastimes of Krishna. They are Krishna's eternal consorts. Like Bhishma Stuti comes later in the first canto of the Bhagavatam. where we know that Bhishma Pitama is a Mahajan, and he is offering these prayers at his deathbed when his body is pierced by all these arrows, right? So and he's not experiencing any pain or anything. He's just waiting to leave his body so he can see Krishna while leaving his body. He's fulfilling so many principles of all the principles of Bhagavad Gita that we have learned. How we should leave the body, how one should offer obeisances according to our time, place, and circumstance. He cannot get up and bow down, but he is offering wonderful prayers with his gestures and with his eyes in such a way that those are the highest obeisances to Krishna. Even when such a devotee fires these deadly arrows, like Bhishma Pitama was firing deadly arrows at Arjuna and they were hitting Krishna also, to Krishna it feels like these are lotus flowers falling on him. So these prayers that all these devotees offer are very powerful, and they're not how we have music today that's loud and that's in the mode of ignorance, and there is no rhyme or rhythm to it. These poems are very beautifully sung. They have a regulated meter and rhythm, and they're offered in Sanskrit, which is the mother of all languages, right? So, in those, there is this beautiful prayer, Brihat Sama, that Krishna says, I represent that. Similarly, in the next thing he says, of the poetry, I'm Gayatri. So, Gayatri or Gayatri Mantra, I think most of us know here, especially those that are brought up in India, we used to say Gayatri Mantra in school a lot. And even when we do prayers, any prayers now, we say Gayatri Mantra, right? Especially, I don't know everybody else, but this used to be my go-to prayer. If I had to pray sincerely to the Lord, I'd always say Gayatri Mantra, whether it is before starting an exam or anything, any auspicious activity, you'd say Gayatri Mantra. So Krishna says of that poetry, that regulated poetry that is given in Sanskrit, which follows the rules, which is not whimsical, which has a proper meter, of that poetry, I am the Gayatri Mantra. He's the Gayatri. In the Purport, Prabhupada explains that Gayatri is not, nowadays, Gayatri is said by anybody, but actually Gayatri is said by people that are very Brahmanical in nature, that are in the mode of goodness, that have Brahmanical qualities, and that follow certain rules and regulations according to Vedic injunctions. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra, on the other hand, this is something to understand, because a lot of people say, why can't we just say Gayatri Mantra? Why do we say Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Right? Because the difference is that Hare Krishna Mahamantra, anybody can say at any time, place, and situation. You're driving a car, you're showering, you've not bathed yet in the morning, you can say Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There is no rules and regulations with it. But with Gayatri, you have to follow proper rules and regulations, and you should not have these contaminations that we have these days. We have to follow the regulative principles. Now with Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even though you're not following the regulative principles, people are drinking, meat eating, gambling, cheating, smoking, lying, anybody, all kinds of people can say Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But for Gayatri, you have to be first purified, first follow the rules and regulations, and then say Gayatri according to the proper injunctions. So that's something Prabhupada has mentioned in the verse, in the purport. Of the months, Masanam. So Mas means month. Masanam, Margashirsha. Margashirsha is the November-December month. Krishna says, I'm that month. So that's when if you remember, Bhagavad Gita is actually spoken in the month of December, right? The Gita Jayanti comes, our huge book distribution starts during that month of December. Winters are, going away. And then of the seasons, Ritu Nam, Krishna says, I'm Kusuma Khara. Kusum means flower. The flower-bearing spring, the spring that brings flowers with it, the pleasant season when it's not too cold, not too hot, when there are grains in the fields, right? Farmers, actually Basant Panchami is celebrated at that time also, because Basant or Bahar is spring that comes at that time. So of the ritus, I am the flower bearing spring. So I think that one is straightforward. Any questions? If not, we can keep moving on this one. Or any realizations anybody had? In the purport, actually, I can read a couple lines that I have highlighted here. So Prabhupada is saying, amongst the regulated poetry, the Gayatri Mantra, which is chanted by the duly qualified Brahmanas, is the most prominent. This mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people, and when one attains success in chanting it, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. So this is meant for spiritually advanced people. One must first acquire the qualities of a perfectly situated person, the qualities of goodness according to the laws of material nature, in order to chant the Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri Mantra is very important in Vedic civilization and is considered to be the sound incarnation of Brahman. To understand, Brahman is one of the aspects of God, right? There are three aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. But Brahman is the energy or the effulgence that emanates from Krishna's body, that is called Brahman, right? So whenever we are in mode of goodness, whenever we are reading Bhagavad Gita, doing all these spiritual acts, we are immediately situated on the Brahman platform. So so Prabhupada is saying that it is considered the sound incarnation of Brahman. This was all mentioned in the second paragraph if you wanted to read. All right, let's move. 10.36. Dyutam chalai tamasmi.
Dyutam chalayatasmi.
Tejas tejasvinamaham.
Tejas tejasvinamaham.
Jayo asmi vyavasayo asmi.
Jayo asmi vyavasayo asmi.
Sattvam sattvatamaham.
Sattvam sattvatam.
Okay, who wants to read this?
I can read it, Mataji.
Yes, Madhu, please go.
I'm also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid, I'm the splendor. I am victory, I'm adventure, and I'm the strength of the strong. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is very interesting thing Krishna is saying. I'm gambling of the cheats. Dyutam chalai tam asmi. That in the among chal means to cheat somebody. So the people that cheat, chalai tam or cheats, I'm the dyut, or dyut means I'm the gambling. So among the cheaters, I'm the gambling. Then he says, Tejas tejasvi namaham. Tejasvi are splendid or very opulent or very people that are very splendid, right? Because of their various qualities. He says, I am their tej, or I am their splendor. Jayo asmi, that I am the victory. Jaya is victory. Vyavasayo. Vyavasaya, like we read before, right? Vyavasyatmika buddhya. Vyavasaya. Vyavasaya means to work, like business. So Vyavasayo asmi means industriousness, like hard work or very putting an effort into something. So Vyavasayo asmi, that I am that adventure, the enterprise, the industriousness. Sattvam sattvatamaham, that sattvatam are the strong. Sattvatam means strong. I am the sattvam. I'm their strength. I am strength of the strong. So so this is interesting when he says that I am the gambling of the cheats. So Krishna, we think, okay, we can do whatever we want, nobody's watching, we can cheat. Okay, I'm decided to follow 4 regulated principles, but my guru is not here, he's not watching. I can drink something bad today, or I can eat something wrong. It's okay, nobody's watching. But no, you cannot deceive Krishna, right? If you try to deceive Krishna is the biggest cheat of all. Right? He in the story that Namita Mataji shared, Bali Maharaj and Vaman Dev, how Krishna came as a little dwarf Brahman that nobody thought he could do anything, and he cheated Bali Maharaj of all the land and all the cosmic manifestation, and then finally had him completely surrender as well. right? So you cannot, so if you think I'm going to cheat, Bali Maharaj thought, okay, what is this Brahmana going to take from me? He said, no, you just want 3 steps of land from me? Ask something more. I can give you much more. This is nothing for me. So he said, no, just give me 3 steps of land. Because Krishna is, you cannot cheat him. He's very, very intelligent, right? So all the intelligence is coming from him. So he cheated Bali Maharaj of all the, so many pastimes are like that, right? Where we think that, okay, what can this person do? Duryodhan thought, oh, this is just a gwala, this is just a cowherd boy. What can he do? He's not even fighting in this war. But he was not fighting, but he was the power behind the whole fight. Even though he was just driving Arjuna's chariot, but actually the whole, Krishna already knew, Krishna already showed. You will see in next chapter, he already showed that all the Kauravas and everybody is going into his mouth, that they're going into the mouth of Kal of the time, that they will get all devoured. So what are you worried about? They're going to die. I already know the end of this war, he said. So he was actually just cheating. He was just playing them. Just fight. Just fight for me, because I already know how this war is going to end. So nobody can cheat him. So don't think that, okay, I can cheat on this exam. No, my teacher is not watching. I can eat this or that. No, but my guru is not watching, or my counselor is not watching. How does it matter? No, but Krishna is watching. So we cannot cheat him. And among all the kind of cheatings that are possible, gambling is the worst kind. And Krishna says that I am that gambling of the cheats. We saw in the gambling match how the Pandavas, the great Yudhishthira Maharaj and everybody, they lost everything they had. So he says, I'm the gambling of the cheats. I think this is self-explanatory, that I'm the splendor of the splendid, right? That is what we are reading, that all the splendor that is there in anything is coming from Krishna, right? All the if a person is intelligent, that is coming from Krishna. If Arjuna is strong and great Dhanurdhar, that is coming from Krishna, right? If somebody is very very famous, if somebody has a lot of wealth, that wealth or that fame is coming from Krishna. So anything that anybody has, one need not be proud of it, because it is all just a little part of what Krishna has, and he has lent it to us just for the time being, right? So when Krishna left or wound up his pastime on earth, Arjuna immediately realized that he could not even lift the Gandiva. Forget about using it, he could not even lift the Gandiva, right? He was coming back he realized that Krishna has wound up his Leela and left this material manifestation. He's gone back to his Dham. And he was coming back, was very sorrowful and very grief-stricken after hearing this news. And he was coming back and came across just these few robbers on the way. He could not even fight them. His Gandiva wouldn't work. And this great Dhananjay, who had won this huge battle, he could not even fight those small-time robbers in the forest. And he realized that all his power is gone with Krishna, that it was because of him that he was able to do anything. So that is an example of how Krishna is giving us anything that we have. I am victory, right? Even later on, Sanjay says, right, that I believe that the victory will be where Krishna is. He wraps up Bhagavad Gita saying to Dhritarashtra that victory, morality, Shri or opulence will lay where Krishna and his devotee Arjuna is. So Arjuna represents any devotee, right? So wherever Krishna and his devotees are, that's where all the victory, all the opulences, all the ethics and morality will lie. So we should not leave the hand of the devotees, should not leave the association of the devotees, because they carry Krishna in their heart and they can give us Krishna, right? So Krishna says, I am that victory, Jaya. And then last thing he says is that I'm strength among the strong, right? So that also we discussed. He's one of his main opulences, one of his main 6 opulences. There are infinite opulences, but one of the 6 opulences that we always mention, one of those is strength, right? Can anybody mention the 6 opulences? Any of the kids? 6 opulences of Krishna that we always, Shadeshwarya. Yes, Avni.
There's beauty, fame, renunciation, strength, wealth, and
What did she leave? Which one?
and knowledge.
Yes. Yes. 6. Okay, so can somebody say them again quickly? Beauty, go ahead. Whether you wanted to say them one more time.
So it's beauty, wealth, intelligence, renunciation, fame, and strength.
Yes. Okay, so yes. So those are the 6 opulences or Shad-Aishwarya of Krishna, the main ones, but then there are so many others. And then who wants to decide? Somebody recited the last verse of Bhagavad Gita last time. Let's have, did you recite it, Avni, last time? No? Okay, go ahead.
Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Patra Dhanurdhara, Tata Shri Vijayo Bhute, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama.
Who says this verse and what's the meaning?
Sanjay says this verse, and the meaning is wherever there is Krishna,
The victory lies there.
there will be victory, and then wherever there's Arjuna,
There is power, morality.
there's power or
and
morality.
and ethics. That is my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Vedi also wants to say. Yeah, Vedi, you can also say. Go ahead.
It's like Sanjay is saying this verse, and he says, wherever there's Krishna, the supreme, and wherever there's Arjun, the great devotee, and I think they mention about like his bow and arrow too.
That's a Dhanurdhara.
Yeah, Dhanurdhara, and wherever that is, there will always be victory and any splendor, and that is my opinion.
Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matirmam. That's my opinion. It's my opinion. But Dhritarashtra was still holding hope. He was still hoping that maybe his sons who are on the side of Adharma will win the war. But even Sanjay, being a charioteer, he concluded Bhagavad Gita by saying that this is where the victory will lie. Okay, so that's where victory is. He says, I'm victory, I'm adventure. Adventure or industriousness is being described here in the purport. Prabhupada says that any, even the hard work, even the propensity to make wealth, even any extraordinary acts that people do, that comes from that enterprising, skill also comes from Krishna. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, 10.37. Vrishninam Vasudevo Asmi.
Vrishninam Vasudevo Asmi.
Pandavanam Dhananjaya.
Dhananjaya.
Muninam api aham Vyasa.
Muninam api aham Vyasa.
Kavinam Ushana Kavi.
Kavinam Ushana Kavi.
Okay. Who wants to read this? Puja Mataji, want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudeva, and the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and among great thinkers, I am Usana. Hare Krishna.
I don't know who Sana is.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I didn't know either, but Prabhupada has mentioned it, so we'll talk in a few minutes. So Vrishni Nam, Vrishnis we know, right? Vrishnis is the lineage in which Krishna appeared, right? So among Vrishnis, Krishna says, I'm Vasudev, or son of Vasudev. Vasudev is, so he's basically mentioning his own name, son of Vasudeva, or Krishna in Dwarka. Vrishni Nam Vasudeva Asmi. So in purport, Prabhupada has mentioned a couple different things, which I will share, maybe a little difficult to understand. So If you understand, fine. If not, we'll just take it at this, that among the Vrishnis, he's Vasudeva. But there are 2-3 meanings of Vasudeva, and I'll just tell you what Prabhupada says. So one meaning is that you know that Krishna is the original Bhagwan, right? And then from him come various expansions, Lord Balram, and then come the 4 expansions. Does anyone know the name of those 4? Aniruddha, Pradyumna,
Sankarsana.
and Vasudeva. So 4. So there are 4 expansions, right? Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Sankarsana, and Vasudeva. So here Prabhupada, one thing Prabhupada said is that Vasudeva is who Krishna is referring to, because he's saying Krishna in Dwarka, right? Because Krishna basically realizes, or for the purpose of Leela, let's say Krishna basically understands that he's son of Vasudeva when he leaves Vrindavan, right? When he leaves Vrindavan. But you know that Krishna actually never leaves Vrindavan, right? Krishna is always in Vrindavan. He's always doing his eternal pastimes with Mother Yashoda and Gopis and Gopas and Radharani, right? Is that okay to understand that he never leaves Vrindavan, right? He's always there. So anything else that is anywhere else, like Krishna in Dwarka, Krishna in Mathura, all those are basically the expansions of the Swayam Bhagwan, which is Krishna from the original person. So Prabhupada is saying that Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva in Dwarka, is the Vasudeva expansion from Krishna. And this is mentioned actually, if you go deeper into the knowledge, you will understand more and more that Krishna actually never leaves Vrindavan. His expansions are always going to different places. Okay, so that's one understanding, that this is the Vasudeva expansion coming from original Swayam Bhagwan Krishna. And then the second understanding is that this may be referring to Lord Balram, because Balram is also son of Vasudeva, right? Vasudeva has 2 sons, right? Balram, Lord Balram, and Lord Krishna, both. And for anybody who knows the story of Lord Balram, you know that how Lord Balram was born by Mother Rohini, even though can anyone quickly say that story in a few lines? Yes, Nadi.
I think this is how I remembered.
Yes.
Where Yogmaya had transferred the expansion into the womb of Rohini, so no danger would come to him, as he was a son of Devaki and would be killed if he was born.
Yes, perfectly said. So for those who did not know, does it make sense that he was transferred from the womb of Mother Devaki to Mother Rohini by Yogmaya, like Vedi explained? So he wouldn't be killed by Kamsa. So that's Lord Balram, but he's actually son of Vasudeva, right? Son of Vasudeva, right? So he's also Vasudeva.
In our play.
Huh?
It's also mentioned in our play.
Also mentioned in our play. So this is said to be the first embryo transplant. The first embryo transfer, right? We do embryo transfers, right? In my line, embryo transfers are done. This is the first embryo transfer that was done, right? By the power of Yogmaya from one womb to another. So, all right. But this is not to confuse anybody. If you just want to take it at the same level as to what it is said among Rishnis, I'm the Vasudeva, right? Whether it's Balram, whether it's Vasudeva expansion, they're all the same ultimately. But since Prabhupada has mentioned this, I didn't want anybody to feel bewildered if they read the purport. So here he's saying these things, that he's Baldev or Balram because he's the original source of all incarnation. He's the sole source of Vasudeva. Immediate expansions of the Lord are called Swam or personal expansions, and there are also expansions called Vibhinamsa or separated expansions. We don't, if it makes sense, it's fine, but if not, these things come in Bhagavatam a lot, in very, very detail, and even in Chaitanya Charitamrita about each expansion and everything. The only thing to remember is Krishna is the source of all incarnations, all expansion. He's the Swayam Bhagwan, right? You can also compare this to I can give you another example of Swayam Bhagwan versus expansions. So Krishna is the individual, but then when Ras Leela happens, every gopi sees that Krishna is dancing with her, right? So many thousands and thousands of Krishnas are dancing with each gopi, right? So each of them is not, they are the expansions from the original Krishna. Original Krishna is with Radharani, and then he makes so many expansions so that all the gopis will be satisfied, right? Similarly, you can also take the example in Dwarka, where there are 16,108 queens, right? But there is an original Krishna, original Bhagwan, but he's not like us. He can be in one place, he can be in multiple places at one time. So he makes so many expansions. Actually, he makes even expansions of Devaki and Vasudeva, so they can be participating in different weddings at all times. So, so not to confuse, but basically there is original Krishna, and then there are so many expansions. Okay, we'll keep moving. Pandava Nam Dhananjaya. So this is very easy to understand. Among all the Pandavas, Arjun was the most dear to Krishna. He was his age in that manifestation. He's the same age as Arjuna. They were very close, right? When Sakhya Bhav, when Sakhya Rasa is explained, Arjuna's name comes foremost, right? Who perfected the Sakhya, the friendship aspect of devotional service, then that is Arjuna. So, and among all the Pandavas, he was the most envied by everybody, right? Because he was envied by Karan, he was envied by Duryodhan, he was envied by all the Kauravas, and he was the one that everybody was worried about. He's the most dear and most opulent out of all the Pandavas. Muni Nam Api Aham Vyasa, right? So Ved Vyas, who is the who has given us all the Vedic knowledge, who has compiled all the Vedic knowledge, all the Vedas, and then Puranas and Vedanta Sutras, and finally Srimad Bhagavatam, the Amal Puran, the fruit, the sweet fruit of all the Vedic knowledge, right? Mature fruit of all the Vedic knowledge is what Shukdev Goswami compares it to in Srimad Bhagavatam. That fruit was also compiled by Vyasadeva, right? He's the disciple of Narad Muni. So among the Munis, he says, I am the Vyasa, Lord Vyasa, or some say Bhagwan Vyas, because he's the Shaktyavesh avatar of Krishna. Kavi Nam Ushana Kavi. This is, so Ushana basically is Shukracharya. Shukracharya is the spiritual master of the demons, right? He's he's the teacher of the demons, right? So among the kavis, or among the thinkers, philosophers, the Shukracharya. So he was a very intelligent, very far-seeing politician. He was very diplomatic. He knew what is right, what is wrong. He's the one who tried to tell Bali Maharaj that he already realized that this is Vishnu, this is Lord Vishnu. This Brahmana that has come to you is actually Vishnu. Don't give him anything. So he was a very far-seeing, very diplomatic, very amazing thinker and philosopher. So Krishna says, I am Shukracharya among the kavis. Is that good? Is that clear? Shall we keep moving? 10.38.
So Ushna is just a name for Shukracharya?
Yes. Ushna is just a name of Shukracharya. That's what I got from lectures from other devotees, and Prabhupada also said that in the purport. So, so basically Kavi, the reason he said Kavi is because Kavis are those who think in very detail on a subject matter. Like they go into minute details of a subject matter. They are Kavis, they're great thinkers. So Kavi doesn't mean like a poet here, it means like a great thinker. Okay, 10.38. Dandodamaya tamasmi.
Dandodamaya tamasmi.
Nitir asmi jigishatam.
Nitir asmi jigishatam.
Maunav chaivasmi guyanam.
Maunam chaivasmi guyanam.
Jnanam jnanavatamaham. Anybody wants to read translation? Yes. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead, Nabil.
Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of device, I am wisdom.
Okay. Of means of suppressing lawlessness and punishment. So who has been punished here? How did you hear me? I was muted. Nirvana Prabhu, that is scary. Okay. I was saying who has been punished here?
But we could hear that. You were not muted.
Abhi to I unmuted, but before. Okay. Okay, I was saying, so among all the means of suppressing lawlessness, Krishna says I'm punishment, right? So dando, that among the various ways of suppressing anything bad, any crime, any evil acts, right? You have to give punishment. So that punishment, Krishna says, I am, right? We don't want to be punished by Krishna. So actually Krishna will not even punish. We get punished by our own karmas and the Maya, and then finally by Yamraj and Yamdut. So we don't even get to the level of Krishna at all. But basically the punishment that suppresses lawlessness, right? This whole material world is nothing but a jail where we have been put to realize our relationship with Krishna and to fix ourselves, to cleanse our consciousness, to decontaminate our consciousness, right? That is why we are here. Just like prisoners are kept in a jail, that you'll be freed once you understand what your duties are, what you have to do for the civilization outside. You are not fit for civilization, so let's fix you in here, let's punish you in here, and then you can go out. So so this material world is also like that jail, right? But whenever a king or his representatives enforce the rules to punish the lawless people, then that punishment is Krishna. Because so nowadays we cannot say the same, because we don't know if the punishment is just or not. But in old times, when kings and their people used to be the representatives of God, right? They were always working according to dharma, so they knew. You know, so many stories come when somebody came to king to resolve their issues, right? Various lawless situations were going on, king would resolve. Those kings used to be the representative of Krishna. So even now, if we follow the rules of dharma, if we follow the scriptures, and if the government, or if the politicians, the people who are in charge, administrators, they administer punishment according to the dharma, then that punishment is Krishna, right? Nowadays, what happens is, if you remember, one time we discussed the story of the symptoms of Kali Yuga, how 5 people came to Yudhishthir Maharaj. You remember? They came to Bhima, and Bhima could not solve their problems. Then they went inside to Yudhishthir Maharaj, and he solved their problems. And one of the symptoms was that the criminals will be free, whereas the normal people will go to jail, like small time people will go to jail. You remember he said, can you pass the elephant through the thread? He said, I was passing elephant through the thread, the elephant went through, but the tail got stuck. Huh? What does that mean? That the big criminals will roam free, but the small time people will get stuck. So actually the big politicians, big celebrities who commit all these crimes, right? Because they have so much money, they are able to roam free, but small people who do maybe just some little crimes, they get stuck in the jail. So, but the actual punishment where you suppress lawlessness is Krishna. Nitir asmi jigishatam. This we kind of already talked about, that those who seek victory and morality, right? We talked about that. Then the ethics, the morality, the jay, vijay, everything comes from Krishna. Of the secret things, I'm silence. So maunam chaivashmi guhyanam. Guhya means secret, right? Confidential secret. So if you want to keep somebody's secret, what do you have to do? just stay silent, right? Just don't say anything. So of the secret things, I'm silence. If you don't want to tell anybody about anything that is going on, just stay silent. And silence actually has here, many meanings. Remember, we have been given one tongue and 2 ears, right? So we should see and hear more and should speak less. Not like me, I'm talking too much right now. But if you talk, also talk Harikatha, right? If you use your tongue, use it in service of Krishna, because tongue has two main functions of eating prasadam and saying Harikatha, right? Chanting Harinam or saying Harikatha. So it is part of two of our senses. It is a Gyanendriya or knowledge sense, and it is also a Karmendriya or working sense, right? When it is tasting, it is a Gyanendriya or knowledge acquiring sense. When it is talking, speech is a function of working sense or Karmendriya, right? When it so tongue is very important. So that is why it is said, if you hear advanced devotees, they'll always say that the hardest thing and to control is tongue. The hardest thing to control is tongue, because it is engaged in eating and drinking all kinds of things. This is where the contamination starts. A lot of us will tell you actually that when we started seeing differences in us was after eating prasadam, because by eating prasadam you can decontaminate, you can purify yourself. And then speech wise, you try to control the speech so that we don't speak ill of others, right? We talked about that before. Criticism, gossiping are the lowest kind of conversation one can have. And maximum try to speak Harikatha and just chant Harinam. But here also, if you can't speak anything good, right? For people of Kali Yuga, if you can't say anything good, then at least just stay silent. Just don't say anything. So silence, and that will keep our confidences, our secrets. Whatever bad you are thinking, you can suppress your anger by just staying silent. Hard to practice, very hard to practice, because when anger comes, it's hard to control, right? But Vacho Vegam is the first principle of nectar of instruction. You remember we talked about Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udarupastha Vegam. So these are the 6 things one has to control. Vach, it is speech. Vacho Vegam, Manasa, mind. Krodha, anger. Jiva, tongue. Udar means pate or stomach. And Upasth means genitalia. So 6 things to control. But Vacho Vegam is very important. So even you are angry, you just stay quiet. Even you have to criticize others, just stay quiet. You want to gossip, stay quiet. And here Krishna is saying for holding confidences, the best thing is to stay quiet. Okay. The next thing he says, Jnanam Jnanavatamaham. That among the Jnanis or Jnanavatam, among the wise, I am the wisdom. So we know that already. Krishna always says, right? Dami Buddhi Yogam. So I give the intelligence or the wisdom. So he's that wisdom of the intelligent people. Is that okay? Shall we move? We have, I think, 4 or 5 more to go. Please share any realizations or thoughts. Nana Prabhu, would you like to share anything? So things we have, or anybody else? Okay. Okay, so we'll read 10.39. Yachapi sarva bhutanam.
Yachapi sarvabhutanam
Bijam tad aham Arjuna.
Bijam tadaham Arjuna
Na tad asti vinayatsyan.
Na tad asti vinayasyam
Maya bhutam characharam.
Maya
Okay. Abhi wants to read. Abhi, go ahead.
Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me.
Yes, okay. So this is these are quick shlokas. Prabhupada has not given very long purports on this, so we can not much to discuss. We know this. Krishna says, "I'm the generating seed of all existence." Right? Bijam tadaham Arjuna. Anyone knows another shloka where Krishna says bij word? Okay, too many hands. Let me see. Hold on. Avni, whether he. Okay, let's hear from Vinita, and then Navya can also recite. Yes.
Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavantiya Tasham Brahma Mahadionir Aham Bija Pradapita.
Be bold. Okay. Navya, you want to recite too?
Yes. Sarvayonishu Kaunteya Murta Sambhavantiya Tasham Brahma Matyoni Bij Pradapita.
Very bold. Who will tell the meaning now? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Let's hear from Vinita.
O Arjuna, I am the seed-giving Father, and it should be known that all living species are made possible by birth in this material existence.
Yeah, that among all the species, Sarva Yoneshu Kaunteya, right? All the species, of all the species, I am the seed-giving Father. Aham Bij Pradapita, right? So here again, Krishna is saying that I'm the seed-giving Father. I'm the, and so many other places he has said this, right? Aham Sarvasya Prabhuvo, and even before he said, I'm the father, I'm the mother, I'm the grandsire, right? So he's the Bij, he's the seed-giving Father. He's the root of from where everything starts. That's why we say Godhead, like fountainhead. Fountainhead is what? The place where fountain starts from, right? Fountainhead, Godhead. He's the source from where all the other gods, all the other demigods, incarnations, expansions come. And then finally come the jivas at the end, right? So we are the jivas, generating seed of all existences, material, spiritual, everything. There is no being. So that one is pretty clear. And then he says, there is no being moving or non-moving that can exist without me, right? So we did that, charam acharam, like char and achar, both moving and non-moving, both exist because of him, right? Matta partaram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya mai sarvamitam protam sutre mani ganaya, that everything is existing on me. I'm the foundation of everything. Okay. So I think we can keep moving. Everybody is also familiar with the all-pervasive aspect of Krishna. We know that he's as Paramatma inside all of us, right? And amongst everything, moving, unmoving, everything, among the plants, among the living entities, among the non-living entities, everywhere he is, right? Which expansion of which Purusha expansion expands as Paramatma? This is more advanced question for. So there are 3 Purusha expansions, right? Karanodakshaya. Yes, Nadaprabhu.
Shirodakshaya Vishnu.
Yes. Right. So from Karanodakshaya Vishnu, all the universes come. Into each universe, he enters as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expands as Paramatma, or as, expands as Shirodakshaya Vishnu, who expands as Paramatma into everything, right? So there is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu for each universe, right? He's laying in Garbhodak ocean. Okay, so this is again little more advanced, but just to understand that there are so many expansions that it's hard to understand, but for easy purpose, Krishna is inside all of us as Paramatma, right? He accompanies us. He's so merciful. Even if we take the body of cockroach in next life, he will accompany us there also as Paramatma, right? So he's everywhere. Nobody can exist without him. Okay, number 40. Can you go to number 40? Yes. Nantosti mama divyanam.
Nantosti divyanam.
Vibhutinam parantapa.
Vibhutinam parantapa.
Esha tu deshata prokto.
एषस्तु देशकारो
विभूतेर्विस्तारो मया
विभूतिर्विस्तारो मया
Okay. Who will read this? Let's see. Yes, Sheetal Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna devotees. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Okay. Yeah, so he has basically finished talking about all the opulences, right? So he's saying that Parantapa, he's calling Arjun Parantapa. Parantapa means conqueror of enemies. There is no end to my divine manifestation. So he's saying there are infinite opulences. How much can I keep saying? There are so many. This is just a little advertisement for you. This is, he just gave a little glimpse of his infinite opulences. What I've spoken to you is a mere indication of my infinite opulences. It's like you go to buy let's say a shirt from a store, right? You will say, okay, can you show me a white color shirt and this fabric? So the storekeeper may have like thousands of shirts in his godown, or he may have millions of shirts. He's not going to show you all of them because he knows you cannot even afford to see them. You cannot even afford to buy them, and you don't even have time to see them. So you neither have time, you don't have money to buy them. So he'll just show you just a few, and so you can pick something and be satisfied, right? So here, similarly, we neither have the intelligence to understand so many opulences of Krishna, nor we don't have the capacity. So only a little bit of this is revealed to us by Krishna, just what is enough for us to understand that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even then, I mean, this is so many things he listed. It's infinite. It's not possible for him to keep going on and on. He says, I'm the Adi, Madhya, and Ant. So if he's Adi, Madhya, and Ant, how can he mention all of those things? So he's just giving us a little glimpse so we can develop faith that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that this is where we have to pay our worships. This is where we have to pay our obeisances and keep him in the center of our life, so that everything else will be fine. This is the root. So let's water the roots. He's saying that I'm the foundation of everything, right? So let's keep our foundation strong, right? He keeps saying that I'm the basis on which everything is situated. So if he's the foundation, if he's the basis, we make our foundation strong, right? Then we can make a strong, nice, beautiful mansion on it, right? Then all our material purposes all our material purposes can be solved. Whatever things we have decided to do in life can also be done if we keep Krishna in center. But right now, everybody has different agenda. We are keeping ourselves in center, or our family in center, or somebody else in center. But if we keep Krishna in center, everybody has the same center. Everybody's working towards the same thing. Then everybody will work together and advance together, and be able to achieve their material goals also simultaneously. So that's what Krishna is saying, that there are too many things to tell you, but this should give you enough faith. This should be enough indication to you that I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And remember that Arjuna already knows, right? Arjuna has no problem. Arjuna is a devotee. He's a supreme devotee of Lord. He's the Nar between the Nar and Narayan duo, right? He's the Nar. So he's always with Narayan. But he is acting as a common man here for our benefit, so that we, the common man, can understand Krishna's opulences. He already knows all this, right? You remember that ad that comes on TV where they show two shirts. On each shirt they'll put some ketchup, and then they'll wash it with the detergent to show that, look how our detergent cleans so nicely. So Arjun is like that shirt where Krishna has just polluted him for time being. He has put him into bewilderment for our purpose. Look, I'm going to give him the Gyan of Bhagavad Gita, and how his intelligence will become clean again, how he will come to his senses, and he'll say his illusion will be gone, right? He'll say Nashta Moho Smriti Labdha, something like that he says later on. So Bhagavad Gita is like the detergent that will clean the consciousness, right? So this is just for our purpose, that Arjun, the devotee like Arjun, who's so austere, he's very austere, he has been put into this illusion. He has all the sense control, right? Remember how he went to Swarga, and that who was that Apsara that tried to seduce him, huh? Urvashi, yes. He said, Urvashi, you are like my mother. So he has that much sense control, right? And not everybody can get entrance into Swarga. You have to do a lot of austerity for that. So he is a very sense control, austere person. So he's not bewildered. He's just put into temporary bewilderment for us, so that he can have Krishna speak all these opulences. All right, let's do the next one. I think all the kids know this very, very nicely. So I think I should have a kid recite it. Let's see. Navya, you want to recite? Okay, go ahead. 41, Nirbhay. Hold on. We'll lead and follow. So we'll follow after you, okay?
Okay. Yadyad vibhuti matsatvam. Srimadurjitameva va. Tattadeva gachatvam. Mam tejo amsha sambhavam.
Okay, who wants to read the translation?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna. Know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Hari Bol.
Prabhuji, you want to share anything?
Mataji, aap kariye.
So I think we've already discussed this, that everything he's saying, all the creations spring from that. He's saying, what to speak of my whole splendor? Just a spark of my splendor supports all these opulent, beautiful, glorious creation. So all this that it attracts you, all this that we get lusty towards, right? Lust doesn't mean just sensual lust. Lust means like desires, right? We have desires. Oh, this is so beautiful, I want to get this. This is so beautiful, or this person is so attractive, or this person is so singing so nicely, or so hardworking. Anything that attracts you, right? Anything that you desire, anything that you hanker for, all those things are just a spark of my splendor. So everywhere we have to see Krishna, right? Devotees anyways see Krishna everywhere, right? Devotees see Krishna not only in spirit but also in anything material, right? Like the example of Prahlad Maharaj comes. He was Hiranyakashipu said, where is your Vishnu? I can't see him. He said, he's everywhere. I can see him everywhere. He said, okay, can you show him to me in this pillar? Right now, pillar to us or Hiranyakashipu is just a pillar. It's just made of matter. But Prahlad Maharaj could see the presence of Lord Vishnu in the pillar. He had full faith. Yes, there is Lord Vishnu in this pillar. And then lo and behold, since he had full faith, Narsinghdev came from the pillar, right? So the devotees see all this knowledge is not actually given for devotees. This is something to understand. The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is actually given for non-devotees like us. It is, or like me. It is given for common people. It is given for people that do not have faith in Krishna. Because devotees can anyway see Krishna in everything. They see Krishna like Prahlad Maharaj in the matter, right? Whereas we, even if there is a deity in front of us, we cannot see that there is Krishna in the deity. So they see spirit and matter also, and we can't see the spirit where it is actually is. We see matter in spirit. We see a deity and we say, oh, this is just an idol. People call it an idol. right? Idol means something like made of, has no presence of God in it. There is no God in it. Whereas a deity is God, Bhagwan himself. It's Vigraha, arch Vigraha of Krishna. It's Krishna's supreme presence in there. People, devotees have loving exchanges with the deities, right? So we see matter even in the spirit, whereas devotees can see spirit even in the matter. So our situation is very, very fallen. So for those people, this knowledge is given that, see, you cannot see Krishna anywhere, but at least understand that everything comes from me. All these things are coming from me. So that now can you at least start seeing Krishna's presence in everything? When you see somebody who's very creative, understand that creative skill has come from me. When you see somebody who's very famous, remember that I have given him that fame. If you see somebody very wealthy, that I have given him that wealth. Somebody very hardworking, that skill comes from me. Anything, the beauty of this nature, the smell of the flowers, the all this glorious creations you see around me. You go to a beach, you see the vast ocean. He says, I am the samudra among all the water bodies, and the ocean among all the water bodies. That ocean is representing Krishna. So for fallen people like me, this knowledge is given that you can see Krishna in everything. Okay, so this is something to understand. But Krishna is saying, with the spark of my splendor, I support everything. That is why sometimes in Bhagavatam, when you read Prabhupada says that Bhagavad Gita is a lower understanding. And he also used to say that Bhagavad Gita is like doing graduation, then Bhagavatam is like PhD? Something like that. PhD.
And Chaitanya Charitamrita is PhD.
Yes, Chaitanya Charitamrita is PhD or postdoctoral thesis.
So ye graduation, then post-graduation, then PhD. So this is for lower understanding, meaning this is for common people to get faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? That's why he'll show the Vishwaroop in next chapter. He'll show the Virat Roop. Why? Because we have to see something very awe-inspiring to believe that it is God. It cannot look like us. If something looks like us, we will deride. We'll deride that person. Has to look like an awe-inspiring, wonderful form for us to say that this is God. So that's why Krishna will pull the next thing out of his armamentarium. Okay, all these opulences are mine, but somebody might say, I can say I am the Samudra among all the water bodies, I am Prahlad among the demons, I am Dhananjay among the Pandavas. So what? Krishna says, okay, saying is not enough. You have to now see my Vishwaroop. So I'll show you the universal form. So that is coming next. But let's finish off the last verse and we'll be done. 10.42. Atha bahunetena kim gyaten tavarjuna Vishtabhyaham idam Krishnam Ekamshena sthito jagat. Okay, let's see who wants to read. I can't see anybody, so please read.
I can read.
Yes.
But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You want to share something from this?
So, after giving the knowledge about, what Krishna is Krishna is saying in this chapter, I'm the best in this, and, he gives so many examples. And then, there is, as we just discussed, there is no end to his opulences. So he's saying, finally, he's kind of concluding. He's given so many examples, and he's kind of concluding here that what need is there, Arjuna? So it's like, this like mic drop. This is the thing that he says, and it's like, okay, nothing needs to be said above this. So it's like, so he says, for there's no need for all this detailed knowledge. Like, I can keep saying this, but with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So right, so just like there is, with every breath, all the universes are coming out of there, we just discussed there is how Karanodakshay Vishnu, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu, then Shirodakshay Vishnu. So from the Karanodakshay Vishnu, with every breath, all the universes are expanding, and then when it inhales, all the universes are annihilated and go back into his every breath. Think how many breaths we take, and think about what is the opulence of the great, that with every breath, all we are just such a minute part of this one universe, of this earth in that universe, which is by itself so small compared to the universe. And we are talking about the grand, right? And with this, so he's saying, and then he goes into each universe as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. And then it's Shirodakshay Vishnu, he's into entire living and non-living entities. So he's saying, so I'm everywhere. So just it's like the last thing to be said in this conversation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, I really like how he says this. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? Why am I telling you all of this? There is so much more to know. What is the need for this? Let me just tell you one last line, he says. And like Nirbhay Prabhu said, mic drop. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. See, nobody can say that, right? Single fragment. We don't even know ourselves, right? He says, with a single fragment, he supports everything. He knows about everything. He's the Vibhu Atma. He's entering into everything. He knows the past, present, future. Everything. Whereas we don't even know a single thing, hardly anything about our own self. We don't even know that we are not this body, we are this soul. We don't know what our things keep changing. Now we want to do this, then we want to do that. We have no conviction on where we want to go. So we are just Anu Atma, whereas Krishna is Vibhu Atma. He's the knower of everything, of all the bodies in this world, right? He's Vibhu. And then in the purport, Prabhupada is saying, I'll just read 2 or 3 lines here. Supreme Lord is represented throughout the entire material universe by his entering into all things as super soul, right? So he's entering into everything as Paramatma, entire material universes. From Brahma, the most gigantic entity, down to the smallest ant, all are existing because the Lord has entered each and all and is sustaining them. So he's the supreme sustainer, maintainer, creator, destroyer, everything, right? And he is entered from Brahma to the small ant, everything he's pervaded. And then in the last paragraph, Prabhupada says, if, however, one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of the Lord, Sri Krishna, and can fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. The Lord is all pervading by the expansion of his of super soul, who enters into everything, that is. So like Krishna says, what is the need of all of this knowledge? The need is not for Arjun, but the need is for us. We have to take delight in knowing all these opulences. We should try to understand these energies, these expansions, these pastimes, these names of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna. We should try to, because this is Harikatha. This is Harikatha. This is what we have to do. We should not do it thinking that we can ever completely understand Krishna, because he says he's infinite, he's beginning and middle of everything. So we know that we are too small. Our intelligence, our everything is too small to understand Krishna completely. But still, we should always struggle to understand a little bit more every time. You should. These things comprise Harikatha, right? Talking about his pastimes, about his names, about his qualities, about his opulences, about his energies, about his expansions, right? This is Harikatha. And we know that Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant, right? Harikatha is Anant. All these things are Anant, but this is Harikatha. So we have to do it, even though it is beyond our conception and too vast. So I think with that, we conclude our 10th chapter. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport in the matter of 10th chapter, the opulence of the Absolute.